Well, hello, I am Corvette Hop. Welcome to the channel. You know, we have now over 1,200,000 views. Today we're going to talk about a couple subjects. We're going to talk about gravity bleeding the brakes on a C3 Corvette. We're going to talk about the ZR1, and we have Dave here from our local Corvette club. And if you see that Z06 in the background, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Dave is going to honor us by showing us that Z06. So let's go ahead and get started. You know, during the week I got a message about somebody wanting to bleed the brakes on a C3 Corvette. And he did that, but he had a few problems. He said when he started driving it, the brakes would lock up. So I gave him a couple of solutions, and I don't know if they fixed it. But hey, let's first talk about bleeding the brakes. So on the C3 Corvette, it's a little bit different in that when you gravity bleed the brakes, and what I mean by gravity bleeding the brakes is all you're doing is opening the bleed valve. You're not stepping on the brakes or anything like that. You're just letting the fluid flow out naturally. Gravity. So that's only a one-person job, and that's the beauty of it. It only takes one person, but it is a little bit tedious. So what you normally do is you jack the entire car up. The rear brakes are about 6 to 4 inches below the front brakes, and the reason for that is so you make sure that that brake fluid flows downward, and it has to be below the master cylinder. You open up the bleed valve one at a time and let the brakes bleed out. If you have time to look at the video, you will notice that the brake fluid kind of flows along the disc and along the rotor. So one way to resolve that is simply just put a clear tube there. That way you can see the fluid come out, let it drain into a glass or a jar or something like that. That's better than bleeding out all over the brakes. When you get time, go ahead and look at that video. That is absolutely one of the best videos out there. It's very popular on YouTube. So when you get a chance, go ahead and do that. Hey, one of the other things we're going to talk about is you probably heard about the ZR1 coming out. Now that's actually out in LA right now. It actually first came out in Dubai, but this weekend they're showing it out in LA. And a shout out to Corvette 918 who was out there in LA looking at that video, and I'm sure we're going to car, and I'm sure we're going to see more videos from him and some up close looks at that new ZR1. The ZR1 has 755 horsepower. It's going to be estimated about $120,000. Some say $150,000 in the high range. That's with all the options. It is going to be one mean car. Dave, what do you think of the ZR1?
Well, I want it.
Yeah, I hear you.
It makes my poor Z06 look sluggish.
Oh man, that's hard to believe as fast as this thing goes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the car, you know, it's the redesigned front fascia. They've flared out the front. They've done a lot of aerodynamic works with it. The estimates for it's over 200 miles an hour.
That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. What do you think of back spoiler?
I really like it. So there's two options for it. There's the smaller spoiler that sits closer to the rear, and there's also the large GT style spoiler. So GM is saying it's the most downforce they've ever put on the back of any of their production cars. Over 1,000 pounds of downforce at speed.
That's crazy.
What they're saying with it too is it puts so much downforce that the front would actually scrape because the car was being pushed down so much. So they've redesigned the front end and the front splitter to help offset the balance and give some lift up to the front.
Now I see no use of that car, you know, on the roads here in Texas.
Oh, not at all. Yeah.
Now I'm told that spoiler actually goes down into the back end when it's not in use.
It does, yeah. So they have a brand new rear bumper for it, and so the spoiler actually attaches to the frame because all that force being pushed on the back of the car. If they put it back on the hatch, they said the amount of force pushing down on it would crack that rear hatch. Especially if you're going fast with it. You can imagine, you know, someone putting a 1,000-pound brick on the back of your Corvette and seeing what would happen. Be kind of the same thing with that spoiler.
That is amazing and mean. I think, I'm told it's going to be about 2,000 in production each year.
Something like that, yeah.
It's probably going to be a 2 to 3 year production. And then the new C8, the mid-engine Corvette's going to come out. And I know everybody is excited about that car. And I think that's probably smart from GM. Because that means that, let's say there's 6,000 of them made, you know, 10, 15 years from now, not only do people want that car now,
sure,
but they're going to want that car 10, 15 years from now.
Oh, yeah. being
That's
the first.
absolutely amazing. You know, one thing I didn't like so much, and we talked about it a little bit beforehand, was the carbon fiber look on the dash. Now, I do like the carbon fiber look. But what I don't like is that they didn't carry it across into the door trim in some of those places where only had some of the black trim of the car. But I mean, you know, that's small stuff.
Oh yeah.
That
Well,
is small stuff.
it's also the most carbon fiber they've ever put on any GM car.
Wow.
Ever. So there's carbon fiber everywhere you look to reduce the weight of the car with adding all those new components for the aero kit.
And more colors
Yeah.
coming out. So I think it was 3 different colors, 3 different new colors, 2 or 3.
Yeah. So I think we've seen the orange so far, the real bright, I forget the exact name of it, but a real bright orange.
Beautiful.
And then another couple of cars, and with their brand new paint shop.
And a shaker hood.
Yeah.
So the actually air breather area that's going to be separate from the hood. The hood will actually close on it. It'll have an opening in it.
Yep.
So that'll be awesome to see that kind of roar and shake as you're cruising down the road. So that'd be cool. Okay. Hey, with that, I have a few questions for Dave. So Dave, I've already seen this Z06 behind us. One beautiful car, by the way.
Thank you.
We're going to look at it some more. But what actually got your interest in Corvettes?
So that's really funny. So when I was growing up, you know, everyone around my age, it's like, hey, I want the Lamborghini, I want the Ferraris, I want the exotic sports cars, and everyone had those posters on their walls. I, for some reason, kind of always just stuck with the Corvette. I loved the lines of the car, the unique body styles, especially the Stingray like you have here, the gorgeous like fender flares, things like that. So I always told everyone, I was like, hey, you know, before I'm 30, you know what, no matter what it's going to take, you know, I'm going to get a Corvette. I'm going to get a Corvette. So it's just awesome. It's my dream car. It really is. You know, a lot of people have, you know, the exotic cars, the multi-million-dollar cars, the dream car. I mean, this behind me here is.
You know, funny you say that, because when you say multi-million-dollar car, you know, to those over in Europe and some of the foreign nations, this is a sought-after car.
Yeah.
So it's hard for them to get their hands on, because they pay the increased taxes and things like that. But for us, you know, it's affordable.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the nice thing about it. And hopefully that ZR1 doesn't make it to where other cars after that are not affordable to us. I have a couple more questions for you. Any modifications you did to this car?
So no modifications yet, only because it's still a fairly new car, and you know the whole warranty stuff and whatnot. But I think after I've had it a while, maybe a few things might come up. The only thing I did do is kind of a homage to the Corvette racing team. I do have the Jake logo on the front that I did. That's kind of taken from their C7R Special Edition car. So I've kind of modified a bit where I don't have the full stripe. I just have the Jake logo itself kind of on the hood.
Nice. Nice.
So that's kind of the only thing.
If you would talk a little bit about the interior, and before you do that, I'm going to switch over to this other camera to make sure it's on. But tell us a little bit about the interior, the things that you like. What is the best things of this car that you like, either looks or performance or anything like that?
So probably my favorite interior option would be, it sounds really goofy, but the hidden space behind the screen. That's just something really unique. I've never had a car like that before.
You know, I did a video on the little shelf that goes inside.
And I got one of your shelves too, and it's just awesome to have that space, and with the shelf it makes it more functional. Probably my second favorite option is just the GT seats. The competition seats.
Yeah, I love those, and you have the carbon fiber trim.
Yeah, so they're carbon fiber trim. It's all from the factory. You know, there's still the heated seats and not cooled seats, but the ventilated seats to help you keep cool in our Texas summer heat. They're just really cool. And, you know, a lot of people were saying when I was doing research for the car the first time, like, oh, you know, the competition seats are uncomfortable. They're going to be like racing seats, they're real bucket. But I mean, we've done some really long trips. We just took a trip, I don't know, about a month ago, almost 900 miles in 3 days. Wow. And absolutely, completely comfortable the whole way.
Fuel economy.
It's pretty bad. Well, if you're trying really hard and you have like the active fuel management on with it going in, you know, the 4-cylinder mode and stuff like that, I mean, you can get upwards in the 30s. It's really crazy. But with, you know, some like Corvette fun driving, I mean, it typically ends up in about about 19 miles to the gallon.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
That's too much. the wheels on this thing look amazing. They're big.
Yeah.
They're beefy. It looks like you're hugging the ground and you're moving out.
Yeah.
Will you start it up for us there in a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I always do as I'm riding down the road and I see especially other Corvette drivers, you know, no matter which car I'm driving, whether I'm driving the C3 or the C7, you know, we got a little code that you know, kind of, you know, you wave. You have to wave. It's like mandatory. You have to wave when you see another Corvette. So, you mind showing us what the Corvette wave looks like?
So, you know, everyone does it a little bit different, but mine's usually pretty erratic,
Yeah.
to where I'm just so excited to see another Corvette driver. I'm just like waving, 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 especially the top down. If I could put up two hands, I would. You know, got to keep one on the wheel. But yeah, that's usually what it is. It's like, you know, the frantic wave, and sometimes it's the point, like, hey, you know, it's a really cool
nice
car. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of just let me demonstrate. So I'm driving down the road like this, right? And we'll go this way like this. And when I see another one, I just kind of go like, because you have to look cool when you're driving.
Sure.
You know, I mean, that's
Yeah.
what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Now, I would tell you, it's all different when I see a Toyota Prius.
Yep.
When I see a Toyota Prius, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I could be going 90 miles an hour, and I'm going to pass that Toyota Prius. I mean, the only exception might be a school zone.
Yep.
What do you think?
Well, if you happen to not blink and you still see him, it's like you try to wave, your hand's just flying out behind you.
What about the Mustangs? What about Mustangs? What do you do there?
Oh man. Well, assuming they'll try to keep up with you at first, you know, and then you're like, oh wait, you know, you press on the pedal a little bit more, and then you're gone instantly.
Yeah, if I would say, you know, I get Mustang and Camaros that pull up beside me or right behind me, and they seem to always want to try to pass or something like that, but they try to give a little message or something, in like they want to race or something like that, and I just put the old, you know, foot to the pedal and just kick off there.
Yeah.
Now I'm leery of police. I kind of know where they're at and stuff like
Sure.
that. I don't do stupid stuff on the road. You know, I figure the road's for driving.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going 90 miles an hour in a 60 zone or something like that. But I play it kind of smart. Now, you know, like I said before, there's exceptions when there's Priuses on the road. You know, no matter what. I mean, except in the school zone, I got to pass them. Hey, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go out here and we're going to look at this Z06 for a second. You're going to see a little bit of movement in the camera. I'm going to move the camera lens around. And Dave's going to tell us some cool things and kind of show off this beautiful car. And I think after you see it, you would say it's a beautiful car too. So let me go ahead and move these things around. We'll let Dave show it. And like you said, maybe we'll get Dave to start it up for us and we'll hear what the thing sounds like.
So we can start off with the front here. So one of my favorite things about this car, and it's kind of a little goofy thing, but the engineering team love to hide little Corvette flags all over this car. They're hidden everywhere. So the first one a lot of people don't know about is they actually hide them in the lights here. So they have a little Corvette flag there. We'll see some more in the back too. So this particular car is the Z06 with the Z07 package. So what that includes is all the exposed carbon fiber ground effects. We have the stage 3 aero in the front. So this car just hugs the ground. It's terrible for gas mileage, but it's a lot of fun, especially when you're going on like country roads and back roads or canyon roads. This car just glues to the ground. Exposed carbon fiber hood with the Jake logo that I was talking about earlier.
Now, did you put that on there yourself?
I did.
That's nice.
So it's subtle. It's nothing kind of flashy or gaudy or anything like that. I wanted something that kind of blended in. So kind of taking a look here under the car. Yeah. So it's 650 horsepower, 650 foot-pound of torque. It's, you know, big LT4 engine with supercharger on top. What's kind of a neat fun fact about these cars too, they all have who built the engine on top of there. Yeah. So if you can get the package, if you can go to Bowling Green, the build center, and actually build the engine yourself, and you can have your own nameplate there. But this was kind of neat, kind of honoring the workers there.
Now, did you pick this up?
I didn't.
Okay.
So I ordered it from the dealership. This is kind of the checkbox car. So I checked all the checkboxes that I want. I got in on the last day of production for the 2016 models, and it arrived a couple of months later.
Nice.
So it's pretty neat. Kind of here at the side, yeah, so we have, these are the big carbon ceramic brakes.
They're huge.
They're massive. They're bigger than Prius wheels. Just the brakes by themselves.
Yeah, about 3 times bigger.
Yeah. What's really neat about them, the stopping distance on them is just really, really short. There's no brake dust to worry about, so it's really nice, you know, especially if you want to keep your car clean and stuff like that. Nothing really to worry about. And these are the Spectra gray wheels, so not quite black.
Were those special order, or that came with?
Those were special order. Yeah, just something a little bit unique again to kind of set it off. Here on the side we have the exposed carbon fiber rocker panels, which are really cool. Kind of taking I guess a peek here inside. So we got the exposed carbon fiber for the dash, which matches the steering wheel, and then also the bucket seats here too, which is kind of neat, kind of creating, you know, coordinated a little bit where all looks put together, not kind of mishmashed.
Beautiful color combination.
Yeah, I really like the red, and funny enough, I picked out the red because I wanted something quote-unquote sporty, but also match the brake calipers.
Yep.
So the car is just 3 colors, white, black, and red.
You have enough room in the back?
Yeah, I think so. Here on the back, so this is another thing a lot of people don't know about. So here at the back, they actually do little Corvette flags that kind of appear and disappear, which are really neat. And then kind of taking a look here, so portability, it's kind of nice. We're a bit of a cloudy day today, so you'd never want to leave anywhere without your top. So this is the exposed carbon fiber top, which is really neat. They just fit right here in the trunk, so they're designed to just pop in here.
Oh,
wow. So they slip right in. It's very light for one person to stick it in and out, and they just snap in to keep it secure and not flying around. With that being said, a lot of people ask about trunk space too. I mean, I'm sure with some of your videos too, kind of showing your car, Corvette's got a lot of trunk space.
Yeah, a lot of people think they don't.
Yeah, you know, especially with it being a hatch. I mean, we try to take it, you know, traveling as the fun car on the weekends and stuff like that. You know, pack up the suitcases, go out to the ranch, and it's just fine.
Yeah, the convertible does not have much room in the back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Another hidden little Corvette flag. So I think that's the last one that I kind of know of. But you never know, there's probably more hidden. So here at the back, this is also part of the Z07 package. So this is the Stage 3 aero kit or aero spoiler for the back. So they call this the wicker bill. And it sits so high in the back, and we can see it's adjustable. So right now I have it adjusted all the way up. So in terms of what kind of driving that you're doing, will determine how much downforce you want. So if you're going to be doing a lot of straightaway type driving on the track, or even people that like to do the drag racing, they want to put that all the way down so you don't have as much drag, almost like a parachute on the back of the car. For me, I like to do a lot of the twisty roads, the canyon driving, stuff like that, so I leave it all the way up to make sure I got the most amount of downforce. But it sits high enough to where if it was a solid color, it would completely block out your vision for your rear mirror. So that's why they have it kind of clear, kind of a ghosted look here. Something kind of unique for the Z06s, the regular Stingray Corvettes, they have the red tail lights. You know it's a Z06 if you ever see the clear tail lights, or Grand Sport, I believe, too. So that's kind of the telling thing. If you're ever behind a Corvette, one of the newer ones, you don't know what it is, take a look at the tail lights, and if they're red, it's a regular Stingray. If they're clear, it's going to be a Z06.
You can also tell by the flared fenders also. See how much flare this has out to extend out from the side.
Yeah, it's
and that's a little bit of problem, you said, Dave, because sometimes some of your debris and stuff flies up on that, right?
It is, yeah. So the side skirts really help. But yeah, so any kind of liquid or even some of the rocks. I mean, the tires, if you're able to get down there, there's a lot of meat on these tires.
Unbelievable.
So these are the Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s. So they are borderline road legal track/street tires. So these tires are actually really new, and it looks like they have no tread on them, but that's how they're supposed to come from the factory, which is really cool. So this is a car you don't want to drive in the rain.
No,
at all.
No.
Even in weather mode, it gets really skittish really fast, but when it's a nice kind of warm day or a dry day, it's just wonderful.
You mind starting it up?
Yeah, we can
Let's
start
see
it
what
up.
it sounds
Yeah.
like. That is totally awesome. All right, with this we'll go back in. Okay, now we'll go to questions here. Here we go. John from Denmark says supercar.
Thanks. So it's the American budget supercar slayer, and we have a lot of fun with that.
John, you were on last week, right? Are you the one that had the two Corvettes? Oh, I see we have Ann's on also. She said she couldn't see us, but Ann, you should be able to see us now, right? He said, how old is the C7?
Yeah, so the C7's a 2016, but a late 2016 model. So I bought it in May of 2016. I got it on the very last day of production for that model year. I wasn't planning it. I just so happened, I was like, hey, I got all the paperwork and everything ready to go. Let's go to the dealership and grab it. So I got it on that last day. The dealership had one allocation for the entire year for the exposed carbon fiber, and I took it from them.
Wow.
So it all just kind of aligned.
How many miles you have on it now?
Oh gosh, I didn't check the odometer on my way over, but I think just about 4,000.
Man,
so it's pretty babied, and the reason for that is both myself and my wife, we both work from home. So it's just strictly a weekend car. We use the bigger cars, kind of the grocery getter and things like that. But if we ever want to do a trip and go and get ice cream or something like that, we'll take this car.
Do you let her drive it?
No, only because it's a manual, and it's just a lot of horsepower for a car, right? So it's just, you know, it's a lot going on. But we're working our way up to it.
Oh, I understand. Yeah. You know, before I had the C7, I had a C6. And it was a red one. And the wife, she drove it a couple times. She did not like it. She said it was too hard of a drive, and it was more like a total sports car. The C7 though, and I don't know about the Z06, but my C7, mine's a Z51 with a Z51 package. And I always tell people when I describe it, it's like a sports luxury car, because it has a smooth ride on the road. You almost can't tell it's really a sports car unless you kick it in and taking the curves and things like that. But of course you have the sports car look, especially when in the console and things like that. She drove the C7 and she loves it.
Awesome.
You know,
yeah.
It's not her car that she would drive every day.
Yeah.
She wouldn't want to do that. But I mean, if one of the other cars was broke down or something like that, she would not mind driving this car at all.
So my car is a bit on the opposite end, probably a lot like your C6. So the Z06 follows that pattern too, but once you option it with the Z07 package, they completely retune the suspension on it for being a track-based suspension. So that car is stiff as rock.
Yeah.
So any little bump, even in the touring mode, you still really feel that car move. It really likes its home to be on the track.
Nice.
That being said, there is a new software update for the car coming out this month. That they're completely redoing all the suspension tuning for the 2016, 2017, and 2018 Z06s to soften them up, because they found by retuning it with some of the work on the ZR1 that they could shave off 2 seconds of lap time on average for their cars.
That's big.
Yeah.
That is big. Hey, John from Denmark had a question. He says, what's the base price for this car in the United States?
So if we start off with the I call it the baby C7, but the little Stingray. We're starting
come
off
on now. Is there such thing as a baby Z07?
It's a lot, right? 450 horsepower.
Or Z06, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the baby Stingray, that starts at $45,000 US. I believe the Z06 starts at around $80,000 US, and this one here with all the options on it, all the exposed carbon fiber, the 2LT package, so it's the upgraded, the more color coordinated leather, and the seats and the wheels and all the other nonsense I put into it. It came out about $105.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
And then the ZR1 is going to be $120, and that's probably base price.
Yeah, the ZR1 starts at $119,995.
Oh wow.
So if they just up at $5, they can make it easy for us to say. That's for the coupe. The convertible starting at $123, but that's base price. I think they said with options, it's like another $20,000 in options with the big spoiler. So you're looking at $140,000, and maybe a little bit up, right? You're talking about taxes and fees and all the other fun stuff that we have here. It's quite a bit.
That's a lot of money. I mean, that's older in age, I would say. That's when it was possible.
Yeah.
So
yeah, people ask me all the time. It's like, hey, David, how did you get how did you get the car? And it's like, well, I went to school, I got a degree in technology, and I worked my butt off with saving.
Yeah.
And again, that's how we're able to do it.
Now, John made another comment. John from Denmark.
Yeah.
He said the base price of the car is $250,000 in Denmark.
That is wild.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So that's well, that would be almost double the price of a ZR1.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for 250,000, I mean, we're in Porsche like GT2, GT3 territory at that point.
That is crazy. Hey, by the way, next week we have Paul with a C2 coming, and his car is actually from 1963, but is extremely expensive and an extremely sought after car. So you'll get an opportunity to see that next week. With that, any other questions out there? Hey, John, thanks for coming on again. I know you were here last week. You actually had some very good questions last week too. So thanks for coming in and contributing to the live feed. I see we have Ann on also. Yeah, John, that 63 is not a split window. And you would say, well, why not? And that's why this one is so special that you're going to see next week. If you know, 63 was the year of the split window, and in fact, a lot of people in 1963 did not like the split window C2 Corvettes, and they made them to where they weren't. However, this one was made this way from the manufacturer, so we're going to see some neat things in this car. I'm surprised he's even driving it over. This car is so expensive that, I don't even think the insurance lets him take it outside the garage. I don't know. He was at the car show, if you remember the white C2.
The race car one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a gorgeous car.
That's a gorgeous.
Yeah.
Did he win Best in Show?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't remember if he won Best in Show or not, but a beautiful car. You're absolutely right. It's a white one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a beautiful car. He's going to come out here and show this one, much like Dave did here. Hey, we don't have any more questions on the live feed. Sorry for the little problems at the beginning of the video feed. With that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here to go ahead and knock it out. We don't want these things to be over 15 minutes long in the first place, because that is way too long. We know everybody is busy and all those kind of things. With that, hey, everybody, keep those cars on the road, okay?